Hey, welcome back to the podcast. This is Dan Brzezowski. It is beginning of April, sometime in the beginning of April. Don't even know what day it is. But today we're going to be talking about when it's your time. You better be ready.
Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
So glad to have you back in the No Comfort Zone. Podcast success and motivation in the No Comfort Zone. That's what life is all about. Getting a little bit uncomfortable so you can maintain or get some massive success in your life. So recently I just listened to a podcast, The Sales Life, with my main man, Marsh. And it was a great podcast. And halfway into it, I actually discovered the real message for me in that podcast. And he was going over a reference, and bear with me on this podcast today. I'm going to be all over the place. I'm recording in my car going to work, and a thought hit me. So I grabbed the mic, threw it in my phone, hooked the thing up, and now I'm just going after it today. I want you to check this out. There is a guy that I've been listening to. A long time ago, he wrote an article in an automotive trade publication, Auto Success Magazine, I think he wrote it. I really liked what he had to say. Don't remember what he said, but I decided to reach out and connect with him. And I am encouraging you, if there is something that you see a value out there in the internet, in the universe or whatever, reach out to the author of it and get in alignment. For whatever reason, that article resonated with me at the time. I felt compelled to call him. Just like you, if you're in a position right now and if you think today's the day to get after your goals and start living on purpose, go to Dan at the No Comfort Zone. Hit me up. Email me. Let me know what's going on. Let me know where you're at. Let me know where you want to go. Tell me a little bit. Just email me. Let's start a conversation and go from there. Or better yet, if you want to go to launchwithdan.com, I can actually get you on my calendar, schedule a time. We can have a conversation about where you're at. I can explain the blueprint. And then from there, who knows what will happen, right? Life is good. So I reached out to this guy, and I've been listening to him in these trade publications, been reading his articles. Then, after maybe a 5, 6, 7 year period, disconnected, don't know where he went, don't know what he did. But anyway, Marsh came back up, and I started checking him out on Facebook, and he's got a really kick-ass podcast. We kind of are a parallel with we're kind of going the same direction, but he has just such a really unique viewpoint that is uncomfortable for me. He talks about winding it down. He talks about taking breaks. He doesn't like talking about goals. He likes talking about missions and objectives. And it's all good, tomato. But he's got a really good point of view. But more importantly, the guy's living it. That's the difference with most people out there. I know him. This guy's living it. He's gone through adversity. He's learned from it. And now he's putting that knowledge out there for everybody else. And what he was talking about was his son is a really good, skilled, young football player, and his skill level is basically the front yard football games, which means he's probably fast, agile, quick in a small space. I'm just assuming. But what's even better than that is he brought up the analogy that when his son goes to play a different level of football, is he going to have the skill set? No, to play at that level, he won't be. So what he has to do is be willing to sit on the bench for the entire year if he needs to, in order for him to be a football player. Now, that's kind of put that in life's perspective. Your level, where you're at in your life, whatever skill level you have, is exactly where you're at today. What do you need to do to level up? And in the case of this podcast that he just had, Marsh was talking about, it's that time maybe you need to sit on the bench. Maybe you need to keep putting more reps in when no one's watching. Maybe you need to keep working at it. Like in the movie Greater. It's a great Netflix movie about a true story about a football player who just heart and passion went all the way with it. Great. I did a podcast on it a while ago. Great story. But what I wanted to share with you about this whole topic is, you got to be humble enough to sit on the bench, but you got to be willing to work like a champion when no one's watching. What do they say? act like you're in first, practice like you're in second. I think there's some really big value to that. And there's two guys to kind of take a different direction. Two guys, one guy that I know, and I got to have him on the show. He's the true no comfort zone guy. His name's Todd. He's a good friend of mine. Todd is one of those guys who just lives life on life's terms. Quit a very high paying job to learn some skills in the automobile industry, then left the automobile industry after he had those skills and went back to his original sales job and just crushed it. And his nickname was Todd 2.0 after he came back, which was really cool because Todd actually encouraged me to speak to these people in Green Bay, Wisconsin, a bunch of salesmen that sell heavy equipment machinery. And he was able to get me in front of their audience, and I was very glad to do that. It was the first speaking opportunity that I had since my coma. So it was a long time coming, and I did horrible. I was completely outside of my comfort zone. And I'm talking to an audience that really didn't understand me, but at the end of the day, I think it was okay. And Todd got me to that position. But why I'm talking about Todd is because Todd gave up everything recently, picked up his stuff and just moved, found the dream job in the dream area that he wanted to live, and just got really uncomfortable for about 2 weeks and made it happen. And now Todd is living the life that Todd wants to live. He chose for it. He got out of his comfort zone and he started living on purpose, aware that he wasn't really in the place in life where he wanted to be, identified how he got there and what he needed to do. He decided what actions he was going to take, and then he followed up on those actions. That's the first part of the blueprint. That right there is the mindset part of the blueprint. When you do that, that gets everything else going. That's the primer. That's what starts your day. That's why I write my goals down at night and I write my goals down in the morning. I listen to my audio. I watch the videos. I treat the morning as a chance to go to the university on personal growth. I have a chance to reflect. I get my mindset ready by following the blueprint. I get my workout in. I follow principles that I am in this workout group. Get your mindset right. Then I use my blueprint, get my goals down. I just spend that time for me. Prep my meals for the day, make sure that I have discipline when it comes to that so I don't get thrown off guard. And then I just go to work basically for the rest of the day, and I make sure I contribute in the community and make sure that I exercise and do the right movements for a guy my age. It's not that old, 50. And I'm getting younger too. Metabolic age is going down. Todd's a guy that gets up at 3 or 4 in the morning to work out. That's just the way he's wired. And he loves working out. That's just what he does. He is the no comfort zone guy. Then there's another friend of mine. His name is Steve, and Steve was in the automobile industry, and Steve left the automobile industry to follow his passion because it gnawed at him day and night. This guy deals in vintage watches. I mean, the real deal. He's got a massive inventory. He's massively successful, and he's got a full-on operation. I went to go visit him the other day because I was in the market for a watch, just looking at some different types of watches that I may or may not be interested in. And he was showing me some of these luxury high-line sports watches, some are vintage, and I was just looking at him going, this is pretty cool, his operation. And he walked me through every step of it. Now, here's a guy, because of COVID, found an opportunity to do his hobby, took his hobby and turned it into a massive income for himself, and he's doing really well with it. And he's dealing with all the challenges of entrepreneurship, but the guy got out of his comfort zone, and now he's living on purpose. The guy is fanatic about watches. And I've known him when we were talking about watches back in the day. Just he's a wealth of knowledge, and now he's applying that knowledge, and now he has a customer base. He has an inventory base, meaning he knows where he can get his inventory from, and he doesn't advertise. And why I'm talking about this is because when you live on purpose, life's better. I'm living on my purpose. I found it after a coma, a bunch of adversity, and then finally figuring out after being average for about 10 years that this is not me, man. This is not where I want to go. I want it all, and I want it now, and I want to have fun in the process, and I want to feel like I'm making a difference. And that's my hope for you as you listen to this podcast. My hope is that you feel like you're making a difference. And the best part of it is this. It's super simple. launchwithdan.com. I don't know where I'm at, and I don't know where I'm going. That's okay. Go to launchwithdan.com. We'll start there. If you've tried and you failed, and if you need some direction, it's free. Go to dan@thenocomfortzone.com. I get phone calls from a lot of people. I get emails from a lot of people that are just confused on what the next step is, that are just letting me know or checking in on what's going on in their life. And a lot of it just comes down to this. You got to get rid of the excuses and just take a step forward. So if this podcast offers you any value, whatever your dream is, whatever that goal is, whatever that objective is, just take one step in that direction today. If you want to get more physically fit, then take one step in that direction. Go for a walk. Put your shoes on. Get up earlier. Write it out as an affirmation or as a goal the night before. Get it all where you need it to be, and then just take a step in that direction. Because the next step and the next step and the next step create momentum. And when you have momentum, and I'm telling you, you're not going to be sitting on the bench long. And when they ask you to go in, it's your chance to win the championship. And that's when it happens. It doesn't happen overnight. Marsh, Sales Life Podcast. Thanks, man. Great podcast. It's one of my go-tos. Listen to it all the time. Sam Crowley's Every Day is Saturday is another one. Absolutely love that podcast. My man, Steve, in the watch business. You're killing it, Steve. So glad that we connected. So glad that we met. And I'm so glad that you're successful getting out of your comfort zone and you're living on your purpose. And my man, Todd, who I think is going to Tennessee. You inspired me from 12 years ago when we first met. Greatly appreciate all that you do in the No Comfort Zone. And you keep me motivated on a daily basis. And by the way, Todd's the one who said, dude, what are you doing, man? You're wasting your time doing this. You need to be on the big stage of life, man, motivating and getting people jacked up. And that's quite frankly what you do for me, Todd. So anyway, this might be a shout out to those guys, but hey, no matter what part of the world you're in, because we're all over the world now, realize this, man, that I can help you get connected to your goals and dreams. Just email me, Dan at the No Comfort Zone, or launchwithdan.com to get on my calendar. Start today. If you're serious about your life, if you're serious, then take some action today by going in that direction. Like, rate, review on iTunes. Greatly appreciated. But more importantly, as I close the show, today is the day that you get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at No Comfort Zone 1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye.